Welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you all for joining. Happy Women's History Month and happy Thursday. I hope you all are having a great week. I hope that things are starting to warm up a little bit for you. We are at the beginning of March, so hopefully, the weather is going to change soon, and we'll welcome in spring, and it'll get a little bit warmer for everyone. And also, daylight savings is just around the corner. I can't tell you enough of how happy I am about that. I love the longer days. I don't love the heat as much as a lot of people, so I'm not a summer girl, but I do really like having more time in the day and like getting off from work and not feeling like your whole day is like it's night. So anywho, spring flowers. Wait, what is it? March showers. This is March showers. So hopefully we won't have too many of those either. So anywho. All right. So like I said, it is Women's History Month. So I think that, everyone, you should celebrate the women in your life. You should celebrate your friends, celebrate your team members, just celebrate all the women who you work with daily, you get to spend time with. I think it's so important to recognize, and we'll be doing that this month on the podcast. I have some awesome ladies that you need to know coming up all month, and we're going to start today with Rain Phillips, who is the co-founder of the Leasing Department. And she's also an expert in rental properties. Raine is LA based, but the nuggets she'll share with us today are applicable to any area of the U.S. And if you are someone who is navigating their way as a property manager, property owner, or a leaser, I think the information that she will share with us today will be very helpful in just helping you figure out, understand, what do you do to stand apart? How do you make your property stand apart, from many other properties? And as someone who may be a leaser, how are you able to, stand apart with your application if you're looking to rent a property? So get ready to get some notes. Grab a notebook, grab whatever it is you like to journal in, and I'll be right back with Raine. Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thank you all for joining. I am back now, and I'd like to welcome you, Raine, into the Glow Up Girl podcast.
Thank you so much, Kyra, for having me. I am super excited to be a guest on your podcast. And yes, thank you.
Awesome. Well, why don't you get started by telling the audience who's listening or watching us who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Rain Phillips, and I live in Los Angeles. And here I own my own business where I am I'm a leasing specialist. So I am a real estate agent certified by the state of California, Department of Real Estate. But my niche is just doing rentals. So that's my specialty. And I work with single family property owners, multifamily portfolios, and anybody who wants to rent their apartment home, I'm there for them. And I work with clients, so I'm on both sides, working with the clients and the property owners. And mostly my goal is to ensure that somebody is, living their best life. Like people usually move and they're going for something new. They feel like it's a chance to really level up in a way, improve where they're at. They've usually gotten a new job and they're kind of flexing and saying, hey, I can get the thing that I wanted now. I want to be closer to work. So it's really an exciting time when people move.
Yes. Well, thank you for giving that background. And I agree. I mean, as much as we all like to say, because I'm a person, I definitely have said it like every time I move, like, oh, I don't want to move again. Oh, it's so much. But there is something about like that new chapter, right? Whenever you get to move somewhere different, you get to start fresh, turn a new page. So it's definitely exciting. And I'm sure that it's great to have someone like you, because a lot of times when people are either going to lease, or rent their homes out, or someone's looking to rent, it's not, you don't usually find people like you who are qualified and who can help them.
Yes, that's true. I find that a lot of people, and I'm so, thankful to say this, they're like, thank you for helping me,
Hmm.
because you can get agents who don't respond,
Hmm.
agents who won't do a virtual tour, which really comprised a lot of my business during COVID.
Hmm.
We had so many people moving from Spain and England were probably the two top places where people
Wow.
were relocating from. A few from
Hmm.
Canada and a lot from New York and San Francisco during COVID.
Hmm.
And they would be like, would you give us a virtual tour? And to me, it's the same thing, except it's just on FaceTime or WhatsApp.
Hmm.
And people would be like, no, we won't give you the virtual tour, which I was really surprised at. And so sometimes I would just win business by default because I would
Hmm.
take the extra step
Yeah.
to go ahead and show them on the phone, which is so easy to me because there
Yeah.
you are, you're just kind of walking through the same tour path.
Hmm.
So I do get
Hmm.
a lot of thank yous for just taking that extra step and showing people multiple properties, which is
Hmm.
cool. It's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
And it feels like you have someone who, especially someone who's relocating from another country, or, you feel like you have someone on your side who's actually like, who cares about you finding the right home. And I think, like you said, like just going that extra mile, whereas some people are like, no, I think that makes you stand out.
Yes, I think I admire people who move from another country and
Hmm.
relocate, or people who speak a second language, and have to kind of learn, like just being
Hmm.
immersed in the culture. I think that's just a skill and something that I would like to do myself. But right now, when I moved from New York to LA, I completely felt just lost. I was like, where is LA? Like, someone show
Yeah.
me how I arrived to LA, because in New York, there's definitely a feeling of like, here I am, I've
Hmm.
arrived. And in LA, this is really confusing for me because everything looked the same.
Oh.
A lot of palm trees, a lot of
Mhm.
strip malls, a lot of 7-Elevens. And I was like, you need to show me where LA is. Like, where is it? But it's
Yeah.
not one place. It's just so spread out. And at one point, someone had said, oh, it's going to take you about 5 years to get to know LA.
Uh-huh.
My New Yorker in me was like, I'll do it in 2. But no, it was true. It took about 5 years for me
Hmm.
to really like drive around, get to know the city. And so when someone comes over from England, Spain, I don't care where they're coming from, it's just such a culture shock no matter what,
Hmm.
because again, the city does like has a more subtle difference,
Hmm.
and the traffic is
Hmm.
really a lot to contend with here. And if you're not used to driving,
Yeah.
again, you really have to be careful.
Yeah. So, Rain, for property owners, obviously, yeah, the housing market is still pretty hot right now. So when you work with a property owner, what can they do to, I guess, sort of like stand apart? Because is it enough now that you just have a home that's, for at least, is that enough? Or what do they need to do to stand out?
Okay, well, there's several tips I can give on that. For property owners, I feel one of the things is to always have something a little bit unique in the unit. I love it when someone does an accent wall. I love it when
Mhm.
someone takes a light fixture and has it come from someplace else than the usual place, which is like Lowe's or Home Depot, which is a quick place for somebody to just kind of get it
Mhm.
done. But if you use something that has a little bit of a difference, I think that really stands out to the renter, because now they're looking at somebody who's saying, hey, I like my property to have character. I like to be a
Mhm.
little bit different. So those are some tips. I also like it when people do simple things, like when they take the address to the building and they'll put it in neon, or they'll paint like the trim, like a bright color, like a yellow or a pink, or
Mhm.
just something. I just like it when people get a little bit more creative with the details details. I'm not asking you to do something really big, but the details really show that you put in the effort. Something that I feel is really important and just kind of mandatory, like basic in my opinion, is having a well lit and clean common area where you walk in, you feel safe, everything's lit, you feel like if no one could kind of jump out at you. I just feel like that's really important for safety reasons. And just showing that you keep it clean is just a reflection of you as a property owner, that you probably invest in a housekeeping team, or you have somebody on your own team that comes and, just gives it a good sweep and a mop every, week or every 2 weeks.
I like that. Those are all really good tips. And also too, you said something that definitely like character. I mean, people are definitely, I watch a lot of HGTV and Magnolia. And I know like from just watching shows where people are looking for homes, like they want homes that feel unique. They want something that stands out. And even in newer homes, I mean, I think you can find that character, like you're saying, by doing something like different with the light fixture, or something that is not just the standard what came in the home type of deal.
I also like it when they do sometimes I see apartment homes and like the grout in the bathtub will just look very very grimy to me, like gray.
Yeah.
It's like you're just like, I'm not getting in there. Like,
Exactly.
I don't want to take a shower in there. This has to be fixed. Like I just tell them like as delicately I can. I'm like, this isn't I think I say something like, this isn't reflective of you as a property owner. Like you can definitely fix this because I know your own standards are high. So I want to bring it to your attention.
Right. Yes.
And so as soon and they may not know. So as soon as I'm able to take some photos and show it to people, they usually agree. Most people really are proud of their property and they do want to do a good job in keeping it up, which is great.
Right. Yes, definitely. Okay. Now on the other side, it's a competitive market. So for renters, are you still seeing that, are you still seeing like shortages in actual availability of like inventory for renters? And also if there is still that shortage, I guess now, we look at like the cost of living, right? Everything's a little bit higher than it normally was. So I would also assume your cost of living, right, has gone up in every like aspect. Is there room for a potential renter to negotiate?
Absolutely. I tell everybody to put in the offer. Just put in the offer. I mean, for anything, like across the board, I just think if it's a service that you can go ahead and put in an offer. I do advise people to do that. First off, it flexes that muscle. It gets you used to like having that interaction with people. Even if it's at the farmer's market. So you want to start something like a little bit small and like do a little micro negotiation. That's great. Because I feel especially like women do not want to ask for less. They just want to take it as it is. And I feel like it's really important that you speak up and you just ask, because a lot of times the answer is yes. And so even if it's $50 off your rent a month, that's a $600 annual savings. It goes back into your pocket. I mean, that's great. I mean, so I definitely say there is room. On the renter side, something that I've been concerned about lately is the amount of people who are not familiar with their credit score. Not knowing your credit score is really an issue because there's a couple things. One, I'm finding that people don't even know that they have delinquencies and collections on their credit scores. This could be my most recent example was a person moved cross country from Massachusetts to Los Angeles. Somehow she missed the last electric bill and they put her in collections. So usually electric or a utility bill, they don't email you. They always send it through the mail. So she was already gone. So she didn't even know when I pointed it out to her. She immediately paid it. And I was just like, have you been, monitoring your credit score through like Credit Karma free platform? She was like,
Mm-hmm.
no. And I was like, oh, you have to, because you're building credit, whether it's to buy a car, a house, know your credit score and be able to understand debt to income ratio and trade line numbers, all of that. It's really important for any purchase in your life for your financial future.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, are you seeing rental increases? I know you're based in LA, but across other metropolitan markets?
I'm seeing like this crazy mix. First, we have low inventory in LA. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
just not a lot to show. Um, in COVID, we had a mass exodus. So many people left. And then the people who stayed in LA, they moved because they realized they had the opportunity to, because rents dropped dramatically
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't happy where they lived. A lot of people said, hey, listen, I was never really home very much. I didn't realize this place does not get any light. I want an outdoor space. So they had like these really solid reasons to move. So
Mm-hmm.
they moved, and they usually got a move in special. And once they moved, they stay. They haven't moved, which has really capped inventory because it's kind of like musical chairs. Everybody just sat down all at once. And so
Right, right.
no one's really gotten up that much. So we're keeping our inventory low. And then as far as rent prices, I've seen like a mix where they've continued to go back up in LA. But
Mm-hmm.
then I've noticed in other markets, generally speaking, that according to Zumper and Zillow, which are two rental platforms that I follow for analysis of the market, they're slowly falling a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
people aren't getting the raises to
Mm-hmm.
keep up with 3 times the rent, which is something that I believe the government has started to address as far as wanting to put a national rent cap. So
Mm-hmm.
people can afford to, continue to save, because right now the rule of thumb was, okay, you're going to spend like, only like 20% of rent from your
Mm-hmm.
paycheck. Now, I mean, you have to make so much money to equal
Mm-hmm.
that 20%. So in a way, we're really doing a disservice to our own citizens because we're putting people in jeopardy just to have a roof over their head.
Exactly. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, I mean, for such really small spaces, right? People are having to pay so much money to live in a space that is like super small. And like you said, it could be something that's not, like given the best light, or not something that they really want to, not a place they really want to call home. But the other side of that is that they need a place to call home.
Right. It's the best choice out of no choice. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, there's not a lot for me to choose from. I'm working in a budget. Most people
Mm-hmm.
who have that kind of tight time frame and budget, they have like a very small selection.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then
Yeah.
you have things too that will affect somebody if they don't have good credit. You might have
Yeah.
somebody who has to pay a double deposit.
Mm.
Yes. The double deposit, I mean, I understand it because property owners are risk adverse. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
take that risk on somebody who may have bad credit or did
Right.
not positive rental
Mhm.
verification. But on the flip, it's it's a lot of money out the door for somebody.
Right, exactly. Now with the inflation and the economy the way it is currently, are you seeing more people being asked to bring a cosigner to the table?
Um, no, not really. What I'm seeing is that the luxury market here and for LA, I would say anything above 4,500 would go more into the luxury market for
Mm-hmm.
rental. Um, I'm seeing that they're slow to rent. And I have a penthouse right now, and I just showed it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's everything that you would want from a penthouse,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like a cliche kind of image.
Mm-hmm.
It's so gorgeous. And I had two couples come through this week, and both said that they were really watching the job market, that with the recent cutoffs, or layoffs rather, in tech, and then Disney was announcing as well,
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't feel like now was the time to make that kind of like next tier leap into a
Right.
different
Mm-hmm.
into like paying the next, if you go for
Yeah.
say 4,200
They
to
want to hold, they want to pause.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Yeah.
kind of something that I've seen the luxury market has definitely been a lot slower than probably what it was pre-pandemic.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think that that definitely is definitely playing a part in people making decisions on purchases right now. Because most people are like, if you're somewhere, you just want to stay, almost stay in that place, right? Because I even know, like for us, like I live in Atlanta, and well, during the pandemic and even now, like after, like right now, we're still getting lots of calls, lots of mail about selling our house. And I remember my husband and I'm going like, okay, so we sell our house and we get like, double the money for it. Where are we going to go? Where to go somewhere and then pay double the money for a house that we know isn't really worth that value. But now because the prices were just sky high, like it's just really sort of interesting to look at.
It really is. I mean, the market has changed so much in the past 2 years. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
went from being a really strong seller's market 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. And now this year, they're like, it's going back to, possibly being a buyer's market with
Mm-hmm.
some people experiencing up to 5 to 10% in decrease in home value.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of messages coming from the government, the Fed, just from local information where I've just been kind of sitting back watching everything and seeing the
Mm-hmm.
market because there's nothing that's really that clear to me right now. And we're
Right.
also in February. We're still in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta look. We've got to see what's going on. I mean, I feel like personally in Los Angeles, like for the most part, the heart of the pandemic has gone. Like we have the vaccines, we have the boosters.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people here do not wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear on the news, people are like, well, we're still in the pandemic. We're still really fighting this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really affects the market as well when people still feel like we're crossing over and that we're not
Mm-hmm.
into a full 100% health zone where we can all not wear the mask.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that really affects things too,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
people make their decisions. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely an interesting time to be in housing.
Yeah, for sure. So Rain, what would you say to anyone out there who is a potential renter? They're putting in an application. There are other people putting in applications as well. How can they make themselves more appealing to maybe a property owner?
Right. Well, the first thing I think is read the directions on how to apply really carefully. So many times people just like give me incomplete applications and I'll be like, hey, could you send this, this, and this for documentation? Or could you do this? And that really slows down the process because now we're having to go back and forth for
Mm-hmm.
you to just complete the steps that were already outlined for you. So I
Right.
definitely be prepared with your documents because it's clear on how to apply. And then if let's say multiple people have put in an application, I think one of the best things to do is to just write a personal note. That's
Mm-hmm.
always a nice touch. Just saying, introduce yourself. I'm moving to this community because I've just received this new position. I want to let you know I plan on living here for the foreseeable future. I'd like to take really good care of your property. I thank you for considering my application. I mean, just that personal note, because you could have three applicants come in and they're all very similar. They all have, great credit. They all have three
Mm-hmm.
times the income. They have these things. I mean, honestly, it rarely happens, but at least not in this market. But I do think that personal note, again,
Mm-hmm.
with anything that you're trying to do, is always sets you apart because, to me, it's just a really nice touch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely would agree with that. I hear that a lot. When people are putting in offers on homes that, just helping the property owner understand, like you said, more about who you are and your personal story. I think
Right.
that would go a long ways.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I mean, sometimes, you definitely hear that more with home sales,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're going to put in the offer.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
nice to be like, yay. I'm
Yeah,
here.
but I think even like you said, in some instances, well, I mean, even with like rental, because sometimes people have different financial backgrounds and different stories and different things may have happened. And like you said, sometimes just writing a note to help someone understand the why, like this
Mhm.
happened. And sometimes people have, I mean, especially like when you're younger, sometimes you made bad financial decisions when you were in college and you got, into debt or whatever, you're working way out of it, but you still need somewhere to live. And if you can afford to live in the place that you're applying for, I mean, I think sometimes just being able to say like, hey, I just really am like, turning things around. I want to
Yes.
move to this community because it's nice, it's safe. I want to be here. And all those things in your home just feels like already like a home to me. I mean, I think, like you said, those things really go a long way.
Really does. But it's interesting you touched on that because I see it so if I get the credit check and there's something that's in collections or delinquencies,
Mm-hmm.
you want to ask like, what happened here? Just so I can explain
Right.
it to the owner.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, especially in the 24, 25, 26 age sector, that
Mhm.
it's like a very similar response. We didn't know anything about how to handle credit card
Mhm.
responsibility. And we were
Mhm.
offered the credit card in college, and
Yes.
we didn't have the. And again, I think that starts with just teaching the high school level,
Yeah.
like a money course. It's like you have
Yeah.
to know that you have to pay this. And a lot of people don't understand like the longevity of credit.
Right. Yeah,
You have
exactly.
you have the social security number that you were born with. You go from crib to, all the way through the rest of your life. And when you
Yeah.
get these things on your credit report, it's not so easy to remove them. And people constantly will ask what
Mhm.
happened. So I think it's really important that
Mhm.
we start educating
For sure.
our youth at the time when they're about to start handling money, especially because and all these other, I'm not calling out Discover, but I'm just saying the major credit card companies,
Mhm.
they come out with like, your college logo on the credit card, all these
Yeah.
things. You just think it's like,
Yep.
it happened to me. I was like, free money,
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like, yeah. And yeah, not to call out Discover or anything, but yeah, I mean they're usually the one that you get on the college campus. And you're like, I got a Discover card.
Yeah, 23% interest you did.
Yes.
Yeah, I found that one out really quick. I mean, thank God my dad was like able to like put a stop to it because he saw the bills come to the home instead of campus. And he was just like,
Yeah.
no, I got to talk to you about this.
Like, no, time out. But I will say that I applaud you. And I think that it's really great that potential renters have someone like you to work with, because the fact that you at least stop and you ask people what happened, I think a lot of people, some agents don't ask. And they just immediately are like, well, you didn't get approved. And they don't talk to people or try to understand the why. And I think I like to really applaud you for the work that you do in helping to educate and just understand.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's shocking how many people don't go to Credit Karma, like maybe
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 times a week. And I probably get like between 20 to 40 calls, and it's a qualifying question for me. So before I
Mhm.
want to go out there and show anybody, I want to make sure that you do make 3 times the rent and that you do have 650 plus credit. Because like
Mhm.
anybody else, at the end of the day, it's still a sale for me in the sense
Mhm.
that it's personal because it's your home, but it's also my business and I work on quota and commission.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to know. And people are like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, well, it's
Yeah.
like I feel like I should just like have like a basic email and just be like,
Mhm.
read this email because I like I say it a lot. But yeah, you're right. It's good to check all three houses and find out because I feel like it's really hard to get something off your credit.
Mhm. For
What's
sure.
the bottom?
Yep. Yes. Awesome. Well, why don't you tell everybody out there how they can find you online and connect to you?
Okay, great. So my company's name is the Leasing Department. And so that would be the leasingdepartment.com. I do focus on Los Angeles. I plan on expanding. But right now, I'm definitely in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
So if you know of anybody who's relocating or anybody who wants to move within the city, I'm happy to assist.
Mhm.
However, a lot of the things that we've gone over are general that can apply to
Mhm.
anybody who's moving. So if anybody needs any help out there or assistance, I'd be glad to help you as much as I can. And you can find all my information on my website,
Awesome.
theleasingdepartment.com. Yeah, thank you so
Fantastic.
much.
All right. Well, now we're going to move into our second segment, Three Things with Rain. Going to ask you three questions just to help the audience get to know you a little bit better and understand your process every day. So my first question is a two-parter. It's how do you start and end the day?
Wow. Wow. I was just thinking that this morning. I really veered from like, doing my morning meditation and relaxing to like going back into jumping up and just hitting my computer. So
Mm,
I'm trying to like rewind again and reset and have those moments of really setting the intention for my day. I
mhm.
found when I was doing it, I felt great. One of the reasons why I don't do it as much is because I have a dog. And so he's usually like pulling me out the door before I have like time to like, I'm like, okay, I'm wearing half my pajamas, but let's go. So I'm trying to beat him out of bed basically and get up
Yeah.
earlier.
Mhm.
But to end the day, I really try to go back through my emails and make sure I picked up everything I did. A lot of times for me, I do that through my sent email box. I'll
Mhm.
go back through the sent emails and make sure that I went through everything and any kind of follow up I didn't miss.
Mhm.
And then really, I work from home or out in the field. So I feel like I'm always kind of touching work, but I do try and keep a healthy habit and just turn off my computer and just,
Mhm.
have like, hey, 6 o'clock, I'm
Yeah.
tapping out.
Yeah. Yes, you deserve that. All right. Number two, what's one goal or intention that you set for yourself this year?
Oh my gosh. So, my biggest goal this year right now is to finish my house in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
I bought a home about 5 years ago, and I did not even as a real estate agent, I did not realize like how much renovation this home needed. And I'm literally at like the 90% mark because it's just, it's like 100 years old, and I've been like renovating it every year more and more. So, right now, I would love to have like rental income and rent it to
Mhm.
somebody. So that's my
Mhm.
goal. And I'm hoping I'll do that by April. And then I'd love to travel someplace really cool like Japan.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And last question, what do you do on a day off?
What do I do on a day off? Okay. Wow. Ooh, it's a good question. On a day off, I definitely go hiking. I love nature. I love to
Mhm.
be outside. I like to hang out with my friends and my family.
Mhm.
But mostly, I have to say, I'm like, my friends call me an ambivert because I'm not an extrovert and I'm not an introvert. It's sometimes when I get home, I really just want to rest and recharge. So
Mhm.
I do a lot of resting, recharging, and just trying to like, build my business,
Mhm.
trying to go and expand. So I spend some time working on myself.
Mhm. Awesome. Love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rain. One last question for you before I let you go. What are three things you'd like the audience to take away from our conversation today?
Great. I love that question. So if you're new to the rental market, one of the best things that you can do to save time for yourself is to define what your deal makers and deal breakers are. When I moved, I wanted four things: stainless steel appliances, central AC and heat, a balcony, and an in unit washer dryer. I got two out of those four things. So you're not going to get it all. No place is going to be perfect. Know what you can, know what you want, know what you can say, okay, I'm not going to get it, but I am going to get this. So that's a really great thing. The second thing is figure out where you want to live. In a place like Los Angeles, where it's always so big, find the community you want to go to.
Mhm.
Drive time is really important. So if you're still hybrid, working from office home, but you may be transitioning, try and stay close to where you're going to work.
Mhm.
And then finally, the third thing is be prepared. Be prepared by putting together a great show list, confirming your appointments, and having your documents ready. Because if you find that perfect place and it's a feeling inside you, even though it's the first place, it still may be the one. And a lot of people get really like, I love the place, but it's only my first place. And then they'll go and see 8 other places in 2 weeks' time. They'll come back to me and I'll be like, it was rented.
They miss out. Yes.
Yes, they do. So sometimes I think you really have to go with your heart and your mind, and of course your budget.
Exactly. Those are all great. Love those. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rain, for sharing all of these nuggets with us, because I think this will be really helpful. People are moving all the time, always looking. And I really love that you focus on helping someone who may be looking to rent to find a home that can be the home of their dreams as well.
Absolutely. It's your home. It's your sanctuary. It's where you start your day, you end your day. So many moments of our lives happen at home. And I really want everybody to just love where they live. And if they don't, they should just, have the confidence to look around. I mean, even if you're not having to spend more, you could still do kind of like that parallel change where you're like, hey, I'm getting the same amount of square footage, and I'm paying the same price, but I love this location better. It's walkable. It's this, it's that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't be afraid to move. Sometimes it's really an upgrade in your life and your self-confidence.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Rain. Stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thanks again to Rain for joining the show today. If you'd like to learn more about Rain and her services, you can check out the link in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, visit us at glowupgirl.com. You can check out past podcast episodes. You can sign up to be a guest on the show, grab our social links, and so much more. Also, this month, if there is a woman in your life you want to celebrate, please tag us. We love to celebrate. Let's spend the month celebrating all the women who are rock stars and kicking butt out there. We should do it every day, but this is Women's History Month, so we definitely want to make sure we do it in the month of March. Also, if you have not checked out the Career Focus podcast episodes, do so. I mean, it's where I share my personal journey relating to my career. I think these episodes are great for anyone who is looking to determine if it's time to pivot in your career. Is it time to transition to a whole new career? Time to do something different? There's lots of information if you want to elevate in your current career and your current job. So lots of information to share there. So go over to wherever you listen to your favorite podcast platform. I mean, where you are today is just fine. Go and click on those. They are bi-weekly, so between these interview episodes. All right, so on that note, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for the support as always. If you aren't following us on social media, get over there and do so. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, get over there. I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, you can see us have these conversations live. You can see these conversations. So get over there and do that as well. And if you're on a platform that allows you to leave a review, I'd love for you to leave a review. So do that too. As always, like I said, thank you so much for your support and for taking just a small moment out of your day to join me for the show. Thanks again. I'll see you all next week. And until next time, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.